What's going on, guys? So I'm back. It was a little bit of a lengthy break for me for making videos, but baseball starts back up tonight, and thank God. I mean, it was a long 4 days without watching the Tigers. Uh, you know, One thing I did like about the All-Star game, I love about the All-Star game every year is, you got the Futures game to watch, which was Sunday, and that was great. I absolutely love watching the Futures game. And then the Home Run Derby on Monday, which was awesome. Prince Fielder didn't make it very far. He only made it to the first round. He only had 5 home runs. And then the AL, thank God, won the All-Star game. So if the Tigers go back to the World Series this year, they don't got to start it on the road because the AL has home field advantage. But the All-Star game was really, really nice, especially Mariano Rivera coming out in the eighth inning. Everyone gave him a standing ovation. He was the only one on the field. Both dugouts were standing there. It was just really, really nice tribute. And it was a smart move by Leland just in case, the bullpen blew a game. That way, Rivera, had a chance to pitch. So now that the unofficial second half, because 94 games, we're already 94 games in, which is way over second half. But the start of the season after the All-Star break is considered the second half. I wanted to kind of look at the Tigers in the first half of the season and how, as a whole, how it was. This first half of this year was by far a lot better than the first half of last year. The first half of last year at this point, 94 games in, the Tigers were 50-44. So we have 2 more wins and 2 more losses. We have 2 more wins now than we did last year. We had 2 more losses. But that's not really a telltale thing because the Tigers going into the All-Star break last year, I think, were 3 games over 500. Because the All-Star game was earlier in the month than last year than it was this year. Last year, man, the Tigers' offense was super inconsistent. They would go stretches of they'd score 30 runs in 5 games, and then they scored 30 runs in 12 games. It was just super inconsistent. The pitching staff was good. Scherzer didn't really come on to close to the second half of last year. Fister was hurt a lot in the first half of last year. Porcello, lots of inconsistency issues. But the bullpen was in a bit better shape than it was last year than it is now. I'll give you that. The Tigers as a team as a whole last year was just awful in the first half. They had a 6-week stretch of only not winning back-to-back games. But this year, the Tigers have managed to play some pretty consistent baseball. You look at yourself, 10 games over 500, coming into the second half, you're 3 up. The Tigers' offensive ranks, they're second in runs in the league, first in batting average, second in on base, third in slugging. And then you look at their pitching. The ERA has jumped a little bit, but that's because you got your bullpen in there. 14th in ERA, second in quality starts, 8th in WHIP, 10th in batting average. You're gonna win some ball games. And a lot of the reason those numbers are inflated is because their bullpen really affects their ERA. I'm sure if I could find what the Tigers starters ERA was, just them without the bullpen, I'm sure it would be a lot lower in Major League regs. But yeah, the bullpen screws that up. But the big issue so far in the first half has been the bullpen and not being able to score after the 6th inning in baseball games. But other than that, the team has been really, really good. I mean, you cannot complain when the Tigers are sitting at 10 over 500, 3 up. I mean, you're coming into the second half, pretty much in position to be where you want to be and get to where you want to get to. You're dominating your division so far. I mean, they've owned the Indians. It's been pretty close with the Royals, but they're not really a threat. And the Twins, they beat. And then we'll see Chicago a lot in the second half, getting ready, finally, because they suck. And it'll be a good chance to beat up on them because everyone's beat up on them so far. But you're sitting in a perfect position to do what you want to do in the second half. You're sitting in a perfect position to get back to the playoffs for a 3rd straight year. You get in a perfect position to win the division for the 3rd straight year. And it's great, If as long as they sort out this bullpen and the offense can be a bit more consistent after the 7th year or later, I expect this team to truly finish with 95, 96 wins. 2011 they did that, but that's not really true. their win-loss record really isn't true to how they played that year. 2011 was a good year. They won 95 games. They won 12 games in late August and early September, and that really boosted their win-loss way over to where they win 95 games. This year, I think this team is like a true 95-game winner. They wouldn't have to go on a 12-game win streak to win that many games, Also, looking at the second half and the trade deadline coming up, I do expect Dombrowski in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, to make a move for a couple bullpen arms. I don't expect him to go get a closer. I think with Joaquin Benoit pitching as well as he has in the eighth inning, and you've had Drew Smyly, who's just been a shutdown reliever in the eighth inning, why would you mess with that? What you need to do is just go get a couple arms that can get big outs in the bridge innings, your seventh inning, your sixth inning, guys that could pitch for Smyly when he's tired, or if Benoit needs a day off, those kind of guys that you can get 3 big outs when the game is on the line. Those kind of arms. Just 2 more arms, I think that would really help out the pen. That way you could pretty much eliminate, guys like Downs and Phil Koch, because they're awful. But I really like the way I think Pecona could be a big factor in the second half for the Tigers for the bullpen. I really think Rendon could be, because this kid, his last time out, he got 4 outs, didn't throw a single ball, struck out 2 of the 4 hitters, and his slider was as good as I've ever saw it. And his changeup is good too, but it's not quite as lethal and as dominant as the slider. I think just his kid's upside, man. When he's spotting his fastball, 100. He was hitting 101, and it was like pinpoint on the plaque. And on top, his slider's still going to develop more. And he was throwing first pitch sliders. It was just guys were like, all right, I'm sitting on 101. I was somebody throw that slider. They're just like, whoa, back and it was just nuts. I think he could be a crucial part to the second half. But if they trade and get a bullpen piece, that'd be really, really great. And on top of, for the offensive wise, hitting 7th inning or later, getting better, V. Martin has been absolutely scorching the ball his last 17 games. And I think that is the key piece to getting this offense to play a consistent 9 innings. Because, it used to be a good portion of the season. If 1 through 5 wasn't getting it done, you had the nights where 6 through 9 would do it. But it's not as consistent, as, you got your guys up top getting it done. And I think with V-Mart, finally being there, getting more hits, it really bridges the offense all the way around, because Johnny Peralta's having an outstanding year. And that makes your 1 through 7 just really, really, really good. Because, I can't tell you how many times, Miguel Cabrera would start a rally. And then Prince Fielder, would get an out, and then Victor Martinez would hit and do a double play. It's just stuff like that. But now you get on there, just bridge the gap. Peralta has just been so good. So that's basically about it. First half, you can't complain. There was their inconsistencies. They went through their bad stretches, but they're definitely looking like a lot better team so far to this point. Light years better than they looked last year. A lot of people were freaking out. I got on a lot of people's asses, and I lost a lot of subscribers over that. But, it was something that needed to be said. A lot of people freaking out in too many spots in this first half of the season for no reason. You're 10 games over 500, and you're 3 up. And people were freaking out when the Tigers were losing 3 straight because they thought the season was over, because Cleveland is 3 games over 500. It's just asinine sounding. So, like I said, first half, it had its ups and downs. But second half, this team is sitting exactly where it wants to be to get to where it wants to go. You're 10 games over, 3 up. Your team's going to make a trade for some much-needed bullpen pieces. V-Mart's hitting very well. Miguel Cabrera is just the best hitter on earth. And as long as Prince Fielder, gets his average up some and he stops chasing so much garbage, this team's, like I said, I expect them 95, 96 wins, no doubt about it. So let's look at the Chicago White Sox series. We'll preview that real quick. They start the artificial second half, against the Kansas City Royals. Anibal Sanchez is pitching tonight against Ervin Santana. And Ervin Santana has been a huge surprise in the first half. I can't believe how good he's been. And JV goes up against James Shields on Saturday, which is going to be a great game. I like James Shields a lot. That guy, I remember a start last year where I think Verlander's second or third start. We were playing the Rays. and he had thrown like 83 pitches going into the ninth inning, and all of a sudden, James Shields is matched him pitch for pitch, but it was a 2-0. He gave up 2 runs, and Verlander, man, just imploded in the ninth, and oh my god, and James Shields got the win. But that was a really memorable game. It was a good duel. And then game 3, the final game of the series, is Anibal Sanchez against Jeremy Guthrie. So, like I said, guys, you can't really complain at the first half that much. 10 over, 3 up. You're in prime position to do what you want to do. But I'm just glad that baseball's back and we got some Tigers to watch tonight. So go Tigers. I hope everyone enjoyed the All-Star break as much as I did. And go Tigers.